You use var, let, and const every single day. But here's the truth. Most developers don't actually understand what happens the moment they declare a variable. The engine is doing something invisible, something powerful. And today, you're going to see it. We're diving into 6 core concepts. How declaration actually works. How scope behaves differently for each keyword. The infamous temporal dead zone. Hoisting mechanics. Reassignment rules. And the best practices that separate clean code from chaos. Let's start simple. 3 variable declarations. Var name equals JavaScript. Let version equals ES6. Const year equals 2015. 3 lines of code. But behind each one, the JavaScript engine is making critical decisions about memory, mutability, and scope. Watch what happens. The engine creates 3 containers in memory. Var is loose. It can be reassigned, redeclared. It doesn't care. Let is stricter. You can reassign it, but redeclaration throws an error. Const is locked down. No reassignment. No redeclaration. The value is frozen in place. Now scope gets interesting. Inside this function, we have an if block. We declare var x, let y, and const c inside that block. Then we try to access them outside the block, but still inside the function. Var x works. Let y throws an error. Const c throws an error. Why? Because scope works completely differently for each keyword. Imagine the function as a big room. The if block is a smaller room inside it. When you declare var, it floats up to the big room, function scoped. But let and const stay trapped in the small room, block scoped. They can't escape. This is the invisible wall that catches most bugs. Here's where it gets weird. We try to log variable a before declaring it with var. It prints undefined. Then we try to log b before declaring it with let. Reference error. The code crashes. Same thing with constant. Why does var survive, but let and const explode? Welcome to the temporal dead zone. When JavaScript starts executing, var gets a placeholder, undefined, immediately. It's initialized before your code runs. But let and const enter a danger zone. They exist, but they're uninitialized. Try to touch them before their declaration line, and the engine throws a reference error. This is the temporal dead zone, a ghost state between creation and initialization. Let's dig deeper into hoisting. We log foo before declaring it with var, undefined. We log bar before declaring it with let, reference error. We call greet before declaring it as a function. It works perfectly. The engine is hoisting everything, but only var and functions get initialized early. Let and const are hoisted but left in limbo until their line executes. Before JavaScript runs your code, it scans everything. When it sees var, it lifts the declaration to the top and assigns undefined. When it sees let or const, it lifts the declaration but doesn't initialize. Functions get fully hoisted, declaration and definition. This is why function calls work before their definition line. Now reassignment. We declare var equals 1, then reassign it to 2, works fine. Same with let b, reassignment is allowed. But when we try to reassign const c, the engine refuses. Type error. Assignment to constant variable. Const doesn't mean immutable object properties though. It means the binding is immutable. You can't rebind the variable to a new value. Picture this. var and let are open boxes. Swap out the contents anytime. Const is a locked box. The box itself is sealed, but if you put an object inside, you can still modify the object's properties. The lock is on the box, not the contents. This trips up developers constantly. So what should you actually use? Here's the rule. Always prefer const for values that don't change. API URLs, configuration objects, component references. Use let only when you genuinely need reassignment, loop counters, accumulator variables, flags. And var? Forget it exists. It's legacy. It causes bugs. Modern JavaScript has no reason to use var. Imagine two code bases. One uses const everywhere by default, with occasional let when reassignment is genuinely needed. The other mixes var and let randomly. The first code base? You can reason about data flow instantly. The second? Every variable is suspect. Every scope is ambiguous. Every refactor is dangerous. This is the difference between clarity and chaos. Let's recap what you now know. Const is your default for any value that won't be reassigned. Let is for when you need mutability. Var is dead, function scoped, hoisted sloppily, causes bugs. Block scope protects you. The temporal dead zone enforces discipline. And hoisting is the engine's invisible first pass through your code. You're not guessing anymore. You understand. You truly understand JavaScript variables now. Next, we go deeper. How functions actually work. Execution contexts. The call stack. Closures capturing variables from outer scopes. This is where JavaScript becomes beautiful. See you there.